Hello, this is Siri and you're listening to my favorite podcast, Not Real Art. I live for this shit cause it's totally lit.
Let's go!
Not Real Art, the podcast with
Here we
Man
are.
One.
And sourdough.
That would be me.
And what?
Drum roll. I mean, it's our first guest today.
It is our first guest.
This is a monumental milestone in our podcasting career.
This is where it all goes downhill, or not.
Well, I think this is definitely a good thing because he can't be worse than we are. I mean, this is our guest. Our guest, is only going to be better because we have set the bar so low.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, I mean, just to be honest, I'm super excited because, well, I don't know. I mean, A, I'm excited to have a guest. B, I'm excited to have this guest that we have yet to be revealed.
Yeah.
It's sort of, as I said, kind of a new milestone in the Not Real Art journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he fits right in.
All right. Well, Man One, and ladies and gentlemen, and our studio audience,
Yes.
let's welcome the one and only Birdman.
Yeah, Birdman. Let's give him a clap or something. We have to figure out some way to, ring the bell. Ring the bell.
Yeah, ring the bell. There
All
we
right,
go.
there we got a bell.
Yeah, pull the mic. There you go. Well,
Awesome.
There you go. How's that?
I think I can hear you now. Nice.
Okay, good. Now you can hear me.
So we got
Birdman.
Birdman in the house.
What's going on,
Dude,
guys?
it's such an honor, bro.
First guest.
Oh, God. No, it's not.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
And he's humble.
He's so humble. That's what
Dude,
love
I mean,
about
the
him.
things he's seen, the things he's done to be that humble. I'd be a cocky motherfucker, I'd be an asshole. I already am an asshole, but Birdman, no, he's a...
Well, get some drinks in me. I'm a little bit sassy, but,
Well, no, but I mean, that's why people love you, right? Because, you're easy. You're a good guy. You're a nice guy.
Yeah, I try to be. Kind of gotta go with the flow, or else you don't have a job.
You are in the service industry.
Yeah,
job.
seriously.
So, I mean, look, we haven't known each other long, so I'm not going to sit here and act like, we go way, way back because we don't. But so my first question really is diving right in. It's like, how does one become Birdman? Like, what is the journey, right? What is your journey?
All right. Do you want the journey, or do you want the quick trip?
I want what you want to give us, my friend.
I'll start on the nickname. How about that?
Yeah, the
Perfect.
That's a
nickname.
good
How'd you get Birdman?
When I was in high school, I had a group of friends. We were all musicians, all just messing around. And one of our friends, he was really good at drawing anime characters and just really good at drawing illustration. And at the time, I think it was 11th grade, and I hadn't fully grown into my Adam's apple. I was going through puberty, and so he would, and I had a little bit of a slouch and hunch, and so he would draw me as a vulture. And they would call me Birdman, and I would go ape shit every time they would call me. I'd be like, "Fuck you, asshole!" and just start punching them and stuff. And
Right.
if you know me, that's not that much damage. But it would just be my one trigger. Anytime they would call me Birdman, or just look at me from far across the class and go, "Ah!" I'm like, "Fuck you!" And
So this was to you, this was an insult. This was pejorative. Like, you were like, you know what? This is not cool.
oh no! If someone called me Birdman, I'd fucking punch him in the goddamn chest.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and then I started hosting backyard shows at my house, and then we started messing around with the name. We're like, hey, how about we just call my house the Bird's Lair? And so I would just my friend would draw a flyer up, and we would get I lived in Sylmar at the time, so we'd get some psychobilly bands, and we'd get some thrash metal bands, and we'd have a crazy night of just everyone having fun. And so my house just became a known party spot within the local bands.
Sure.
As the Bird's Lair.
Right.
All right.
And then it was kind of funny. I would have people who would be like, "Hey, can we play at your house?" I'm like, "What?" It was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It was kind of my start on how I started kind of doing events and stuff. And then after that, I went to CSUN and for music business or music industry studies.
So what school?
California State University, Northridge.
Okay, cool.
So-
Right on. Yeah. Right up the street.
Yeah, right, really close to us. Yeah, and so I went to Granada High School. I went to Frost Middle School. I've been in the Valley my whole life.
Right. Valley boy.
Yes.
So
Valley
why was it the Bird's Lair? Shouldn't it have been the Bird's Nest?
No, the lair. It's evil villain, dude. It's evil villain. The lair.
The layer. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why the handlebar mustache, you know.
Like, it wasn't until recently I could finally build my editing station to be like an evil villain lair. I have like 4 screens for my editing station. I just need one random one that has like C-SPAN and another like one random, like, you know.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I got my music business degree, did classical guitar.
So wait, but I'm going to interrupt you because you were clearly a musician that wanted to go into the business on the business side. You didn't go to college to study music. You went to college to study music business. So
No, both.
Oh, both. Okay. So sorry, my bad. What instrument are you playing? You're playing guitar.
Classical guitar.
Classical guitar.
Which is a lot harder than regular guitar.
Totally.
How
right.
do you get into classical guitar?
Yeah, like what's that about?
Oh, your mom tells you either do this or you're not going to school for music. You're like, shit. So I learned classical guitar in 2 months because I was already playing. I consider myself, I was very good at the time. I did heavy metal, and I'm left-handed too, so I had to have my, you know, my guitar had like spikes on it and stuff. I was just playing crazy songs, and then when it came down to going to school for you know, the arts, my mom was like, well, you have to get a degree if you're gonna like, you're not leaving my house without a degree. And I was like, oh, what if I do music?
Oh, Mom.
And then I know I was like, but then like the classical guitar was like way intense. It's like, I can't do that. I'm barely been playing for a month.
You're like, I'm not Andre Segovia.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm like, good name drop. And then like,
Shout out Andre.
oh, and I'll tell you, one of my bosses was one of his students. And like,
No pressure.
yeah. But like, I realized that there was a music business program there, and I was like, okay, well, I've kind of been good at doing back end stuff. Maybe I can make a career out of this. And, you know, throwing parties and events. That was just my whole thing, was just loving events. And then after that, you know, finished the courses, and it was a nice combination between learning. They made you learn music and learn theory, as well as learning business courses, and I had to take law courses. And I also ended up being the first music business major to have a recital at CSUN too, which was really fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and like no one had done that, and I was like the perfect bridge. But it was pretty cool. Like I filled up all my elective classes with classical guitar classes. After a while, I was pretty much set on I wanted to be a classical guitarist, and I tried out for the auditions, and the teacher was like, "You can play, but I'm not letting you in. This isn't your path."
What?
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, it really hurt. You know, it really, really hurt because they were, you know, I literally gotten scholarships from like the guitar department as a non-performance major. And so, I had been the first non-classical guitarist, you know, to have a recital, non-classical guitar major to work in their library of called IGRA, the International Guitar Research Archive, which is the largest classical guitar sheet music library, which is inside of CSUN. So I was breaking down some boundaries, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I, no joke, even went to Italy with all of them and studied guitar in Italy with them for a summer and did master classes out there. Went to Florence and studied out there, and I was like the only music business major. Like, and so everyone like would make, all the classical guitar majors would make fun of the music business majors for their lack of skill and how they only wanted to be a recording artist and they just wanted to be a producer and stuff, which, you know, everyone's allowed their own path, but that was just their way of clowning on it. And so I would just get clowned. And then after I went to like Italy, these guys started respecting me. So I was like, I got the respect of the people, I got the respect of the teachers, but he was like, nope.
Not your path.
Not your path. And
Based on what?
he just like, well, he also like hung out with us too. Like that's another cool thing about CSUN. Like I hung out with my teachers. Like after, like towards like my senior and junior year, I would hang out.
So he kind of got to know he kind of knew the whole you in a way that a normal teacher wouldn't.
Exactly.
Right.
He got to know me, and he was the head of the department,
Right.
and he was the one who actually said yes to me getting a recital. And it was like the help of him that kind of did domino effect. And so it was like it really rocked me. I was just like, I've been playing guitar for like 10 years at this point. I was just like, I've been teaching for about 4. I was just like, like, what the hell? Like, what am I going to do? Like, I've been spending my whole life wanting to do this. And the society I want to work with is like, no, we're not going to accept you.
Devastating. I mean, literally, like in that moment, I mean, you were, I'm guessing, speechless. I mean, what do you say?
Yeah.
Like, what did you say in that moment?
It's like, all right, I got to rethink things, you know?
I mean, but you didn't question them. I mean, you had to question, like, why do you say that? Like, and what is, if this isn't my path, what is your path? You know?
Oh, I was so confused after that. And then at that point, I started going into random internships and just to see where I could find myself. And I would do like, I was at KPFK for a while. I did some board operating over there. Then I did some stuff at Bill Silva Management and did a lot with Jason Mraz's social media account. I kind of wanted to learn why pop music was so trendy. So I learned all my social media from Bill Silva Management. Thank you guys. And
shout out.
Yeah. And and they did a lot for the Hollywood Bowl also. And just, I learned about ticketing. I learned a lot just going to all these different internships. And then when I graduated, I did music licensing and copyrights, and I had to research who owned music, and it was so fucking boring. I was like, oh my God, this is what I went to school for? It was like my first job out of college, and there I was like, all right, I got a job like right after. This is cool. It's like I got benefits. My mom's all proud of me. Like I got what the parents wanted.
Right. I shut mom up.
Yeah, I shut mom up, and I was just like, all right, I'm in a corporate job, but it's the music industry, but no, it's in freaking Woodland Hills, and it's a hot ass building, and I'm in I call it the cube plantation because it's just like rows and rows and rows of like cubes of cubicles, and I was just like, oh God, what the hell? I'm like, you know what? Okay, I can still teach music on the side. I'll keep it going. I'll still have fun with classical guitar, and slowly but surely, I was just like, man, I'm bored. I asked my mom for on Christmas, you just give me a camera and I just want to mess around. She's like, okay. So got a camera for Christmas. So then one day I was like, hey, hit up one of my friends, want to get stoned and just drive around and listen to Pink Floyd and just take photos of street art and graffiti around town. He's like, yeah, sure.
Who would say no to that?
Yeah, it's like, okay. So we just did that for a while, and I would just post it on Facebook.
And what year is this?
2010. 2010.
Okay,
Yeah,
got
2010. Yeah. And so I was just like, I was like, I am kind of fascinated because when I did study in Italy and I studied in Spain as well, one of my friends had brought a camera and I would just mess around with the camera and take photos of all the musicians. So I was like, you know what? No one's ever doing this. Let's have some fun and focus on the artists. And I was just doing that and kind of showed him how to use his camera that he got. And it was never thought of it, but it was a sleeping giant on those trips. Or I was just, I never even put it two and two together. And so finally, I was just posting everything and started tagging everybody in their photos. And I realized that people were starting to add me and I didn't even know. I was like, this is, before followings were a thing.
Oh, yeah,
so I was what the fuck? And then
people were digging it.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, this is really weird. A bunch of random people are liking this stuff. And I was like, okay, maybe I should do some more photo albums with this. And I just kept doing funny themes with everything and would just run around town weekly. And then started getting some people hitting me up hey, these are really cool. And then I went to my first art walk and someone spotted me hey, you take all those photos of street art at nighttime. And I'm like, in my head, I didn't think of it because everyone was, and then the more I dug, I was like, oh, everyone's taking daytime photos. I was taking nighttime photos because I had a job.
Right.
So,
right.
That was just insomnia. But next thing you know, it was everyone told me that was the hardest way to learn photos is through nighttime photography.
Sure.
And for me, I'm like, oh, that's how I learned.
Right. That's how you had to.
Yeah, that's how I learned. And I just did natural light and stuff. And I was just, my whole thing was after a while, I would notice everyone was always taking photos from the ground, looking up. Maybe if they could get up there, I could get up there. I'm scrawny. I could easily climb in things. And so I started climbing up on buildings and getting into areas that I knew other people couldn't get into or that other writers would get into, so I could take photos of their pieces. Right. And once I started realizing more and more people were liking my stuff and saying that they recognized me, I was like, maybe I should probably the marketing side of me was maybe I should probably split these people, Bryan and Birdman. So I split up. Made a whole page on Birdman. I was like, all right, I'm just working on this alias. I hated it when I was in high school.
I love the fact that you stuck with the Birdman.
Oh, it was mainly because I was like, oh my God, fuck it. It was already a long nickname and has a history, and I hated it, but now I own it, so let's just go with it.
And I won't go into this because this show's about you and it's not about me, but I recently came up with my pseudonym and I was that same kind of calculus. It's I wanted something that was meaningful and had a little bit of history, whether I liked it or not. It was the truth. And I love the fact that you're you know what? I'm gonna take this negative and turn it into something positive.
Yeah, that's honestly all it was. I was like, I'm just gonna turn this around. And then instead of see me as marketing myself, see me as a third party person. So I would kind of look at myself in the third person when I was pushing photos. So I'd push them as the way I learned how to market a song. Right. And it worked.
And where were you pushing these photos?
Just on Facebook. Just Facebook and Twitter and Flickr. Yeah, and
Flickr.
Yeah, Flickr.
Shout out.
Yeah, and back when they had just photo groups on Flickr where everyone Rooster Collective and all these other awesome just people you just submit a bunch of photos to. And then I found this whole community of people doing the same thing I was doing. I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. So I just kept sharing them all the damn time on Flickr. And that was kind of like before my Instagram, even though it's really weird. I barely have any followers on my Flickr, but I've already reached 1 million views on that thing a long time ago. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't really post that much onto there as much as I do to Instagram now. But yeah, and that's kind of like how it started on there. And then I would just, at my job at the time, I would have 2 screens. So, and I would always have to have multiple screens on one of them. And on all the, there was always be multiple ones, but I always have like one that had a couple street art blogs. It's like, oh, what's new? And like every now and then my boss would be like, get back to work. I'm like, oh, sorry. It's like looking at street art and graffiti and like murals and stuff all day. And, or like, I'd be sharing my stuff on Flickr and like, I'd get my friends commenting, aren't you at work? Yeah. I'm like, hey, I'm on my break.
Yeah, right.
I'm in the bathroom.
Right.
So like,
That's awesome.
yeah. And eventually I got laid off from that job. Like I got sick and a whole bunch of other stupid complications I don't want to get into, but I had a year of unemployment and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. I have exactly 1 year to see how this goes. So I moved back home and just tried my ass off. And then within exactly 1 year, I got a job at TMZ and worked with them for about 1.5 years. And so
how did you land that? I mean, TMZ, everybody knows TMZ. Like, so how did that happen? Was this early on? Was TMZ at that time, or were they like, so they were, so people knew TMZ. You land this coveted job. I mean, people that are in journalism, or whether you're a writer or photographer, or whatever, probably would die to work there. Like, how did they find you?
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, and everyone says they don't like it, but they all click on the articles. We've all clicked on it. Everyone knows watching a train wreck.
I've done it.
And so for me, though, like I said, for the same reason I did the internship with Jason Mraz, I'm a heavy metalhead. I don't know if you know Jason Mraz, but the big song at the year when I was there was "I'm Yours," right. And to me, I was like, I have to learn. I don't care what this aspect. I want to learn this perception of people and what gets them going to see the marketing value of it. So when I went with TMZ, I'm like, you know what? I'm in LA. If I don't take up this opportunity of being a paparazzi even for a little bit, what the hell? Like,
right,
I'm like, what the hell? Let's have some fun with it.
Right.
And I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. So I ran into, I saw like a friend, I was at a Chad Muska show and I'd seen my friend Cody and we went to college with each other and mainly just saw each other at parties all the time. Yeah. And but every time we saw each other's party, we'd fucking rage it up. Yeah. He was like, "What's up, bro?" Just like one of those guys. Anytime we didn't have classes with each other, but always ran into each other. And so, I think he was also dating one of my older friends too. But so I just see him, and I'm like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, working with TMZ, just trying to get a quick interview with Chad Muska." I'm like, "Oh, he ain't talking to you, TMZ." Like, I wasn't like a huge avid follower, but I knew that Chad Muska didn't like TMZ at the time. So I was like, "Oh yeah," I'm like, "I'm pretty sure he'd probably get pissed off at you." He's like, "But you know what? I'm pretty sure I could talk him into it." And so, hold on, let me go grab him. So I'm really good with Chad Muska, and so I just walked in. I was like, "Yo, Chad, come talk to my friend. He's with TMZ, but he's a good guy. Like, I went to college with him. He's a good guy. He won't ask you some stupid shit. Like, he'll ask you some cool
He's cool.
shit.
He's one of the good guys.
Yeah, he's cool." He's like, "Okay, cool, I'll do it." So he did it, and I just saw him do it. Like, just pull out this camera and put a little light on top and just ask him a couple questions, put it away. He's like, "All right, thanks, man. I gotta get to my next thing." And I was like, "That's it?" I'm like, he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I'm like, and like, he was just geeking out on me, on my stuff. And I'm like, now I just told him, "Hey man, like, it's great, but it don't pay the bills." At the time, it wasn't paying the bills. Right. But now I'm blessed where it is. But like, at the time, I was just still trying to figure it out. Like, I don't even think I was really working for any galleries. I was still doing for free for a bunch of websites. And like, I was like, man, help me out. I'm getting few and far gigs.
I have to ask, and tell me to fuck off if this is inappropriate, but like TMZ, what are they paying you at this time? I mean, are you working for peanuts for them? Are you working? Are they paying you?
I won't say it, but it was very well.
They were paying you well.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So then I'll get to that. So that's what pulled me in. I was like, dude, I was like laughing. I'm like, "Hey man," I'm like, "Are they hiring?" And he's like, "You know what? They always ask us, but I never know of anyone who actually wants to do this job." He's like, "Can you?" He's like, "And you're actually like a fun person." He's like, "I think you would have a fun time at doing this." He's like, "And you're an actual like photographer." He goes, "Look at this camera." He goes, "It's on auto. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing." It's like, I just zoom in and out and hit record and hit on.
That's awesome.
And I was just like, holy shit. Yeah. And I'm like, "Well, what's it like?" He's like, well, you get benefits. I'm like, which one? He's like, medical, dental, and vision. I was like, what?
I'll take it.
And I'm like, once I just heard those three, I have glasses. I fucking need that. I'm like, what did you just say to me? And like, at the time, I wasn't exaggerating. This was my final couple weeks of unemployment.
Right.
And I'm already just like, you know what? You know, everyone's always like, hey, fuck TMZ. I'm like, you know, you get thrown with an opportunity to work with, you know, Warner Brothers, Fox.
Most people
Network.
are going to do it.
Everyone will fucking do it. You put it like, you know, here's every benefit you've ever wanted for a job.
That's right.
And hours that you're like, not
and you're
hours
running on fumes as it is. I mean, come on.
Oh my God. I was running on fumes, working
lifeline.
for free. And I was like, you know what? Why not? And they're like, it's a contract. It's 3 years. And I was like, all right. So I did it. And I got the job, and I literally got it the day after my unemployment ended.
Wow.
And like I like was sucked, but also kind of sucked though, because like it took a while for like the first payments to come in. So I was like, please pay me.
right. Yeah, because they have to skip a cycle, right?
Yeah,
like,
they have to
it's
skip a
so annoying. I hate that.
Yeah, like on corporate jobs. I was like, God damn it, please fucking pay me. I'm so broke.
All this technology, and you have to skip a cycle. Like, give me a break.
I know. So yeah, so I got the job, and I worked with them, and like I didn't do photos. I was we were called field reporters, and it was like I was just interviewing on the street. So like, all right, so I can't give away too much because I did sign contracts, but like you know, they'd be like, all right, so you get like this part of town. It would like 4 or 5 guys in the daytime, 4 or 5 guys in the nighttime. Right, these guys you would get.
So you had a beat, you had a territory, right?
Yeah, it's like you hang out in Brentwood, you hang out in Venice, you hang out in West Hollywood, you hang out in South Hollywood, you hang out in this area, you hang out at LAX all day, and you'd be like those little scattered things, and then you kind of just either rely on relationships between valet drivers, restaurant busboys, service.
Now, are you
industry.
greasing palms as well, or just
Yes.
right.
Greasing
20
palms.
here, 50 there. Like, what's the average grease?
Max 50 if it's 50. A really good person. If it was like a decent person, like $20.
And they're regular. They're throwing you bones like a lot. Like you want to keep like your sources solid, right? Okay.
Oh yeah, and like, and what's cool too is like you get recouped back. So you get to, so when you tell your boss, I'm like, oh hey, how much is this tip worth? Like, oh, it's worth this much. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. And then the person, you know, it's like, to them it's an extra couple bucks, and you know, or I'll just walk into a restaurant, act like I'm trying to go there. I'm like looking at the menu, like I'm just kind of looking above the menu, kind of like hiding above the newspaper look, just kind of just like
spy work.
Yeah, Mr. Wilson basically over a fence. She's like, who's in here? And then like kind of just do my thing, and then kind of walk in and out, and like kind of hang out with my backpack on the floor with like the top of it unzipped with the camera ready to go, and then just like have everything ready. And then the second they come out, just put the backpack on, do this little quick draw basically of like pulling the backpack out, turning it on, opening the side thing, and like, hey, how's it going, man? So let me quickly ask you something. Like, and like you just had to like
out of nowhere,
just like boom, had to like turn on. And so like I had this, you know, this little character I would just kind of myself that I would just turn into, like kind of like acting every time. And
sure.
But yeah, like I just had to research a lot every single day, just random news stories, random topics. I had to memorize everything on the news page. And if like you had like a clip that could make or break you all the time.
Right.
Like if you like skipped out on a question, you'd get reamed. If you like said a question that was too extreme, like, no, that's too extreme. It's like, make up your mind.
So Birdman, the listening to you tell the story reminded me of something that happened to my wife once. She was at some restaurant in Hollywood somewhere, whatever. And apparently, I guess Brad Pitt was in the restaurant at the same time. I forget what restaurant it was, but they happened to walk out of the restaurant at the same time. And I guess the restaurant was like on La Brea down by, I don't know, 3rd or something. Maybe it wasn't AOC, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so they happened to walk out at the same time. And my wife said that, oh, no, let me, my wife walks out first and she's waiting for her valet with her friend. And she said no one was on the street. Like it was just like her and her friend. Right? She said Brad Pitt walks out with his friend right behind them like a minute later. And all of a sudden, like photographers just like, she said all of a sudden there was like 10 photographers like out of nowhere. They were all like embedded like behind cars and stuff. You know what I mean? She said they just sort of jumped out, you know, like, so you guys are just like SEAL team stealth.
Oh no, there were some very like crazy missions. Like I remember like, you know, I did one with like try to get like Paul McCartney, and like it was closer than you and I right now. I'm like talking to him. He didn't say anything. But he was
I'm sitting on his lap, people.
It was like he didn't like. He smiled and nodded. He wasn't really like paying attention. I have some years of experience of paparazzi work. But like, yeah, that was like one of the most SEAL team thing I've ever done. Just like walkie-talkies. We had like 4 guys watching all corners where everyone's just like, like we're listening to each other, just all like hanging out for like 3 hours on one person and just like covering all entrances and then getting it and then, and then just being in a full-on sweat and like right after and just be like, okay, I got it. Like, just kind of need like a hit of like a joint or something after. You're just like, ooh, that was almost like climaxing. I'm just like,
That's fantastic.
So it's actually work.
Oh, it was hard work, man. Like I would do, it was 60-hour work weeks.
Sure.
Damn.
So
that was my next question. Like, what are you clocking?
Oh, dude, yeah. The Tuesday and Wednesday were my Saturday and Sundays. Right. So I had no social life. Couldn't go out to any family thing. Holidays, if I was on those days,
right.
Yeah, I had to work.
But you feel like the compensation is worth it. You're doing well.
Yeah. So it's
relatively
like,
speaking. I mean, obviously it sucks to miss a family event, but you're making money. You're doing okay. You're working hard, but they're taking care of you. You got benefits.
Yeah. There's always,
great.
like I said, pros and cons. And then also at the same time, I was able to go to these like shoot murals and all these other art events the exact same time as all this is happening. So I'm exhausted as hell, but I'm still making sure Birdman didn't go anywhere. Right. I'm like, no, I work way too hard. I got to keep doing this. I owe it to the subculture just to keep going.
And what years are we talking with TMZ?
2014. No, it ended 2014. So this is probably 2012, 2013.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and so I'm just like, I'm just trying to like really hustle and really try my ass off. I'm just exhausted, just like trying to keep Birdman alive, trying to do this. A couple times TMZ kind of made me feel like just overworked. That, and even though it was a 3 years contract, every 3 months you got a renewal of your contract. So you basically had to like struggle and be scared of your job every 3 months.
Every 3 months, right? They could cancel.
Yeah, you could get cut anytime, and then because you also got points by how many times. Like they had a weird point system on like how many people you got, and if it got on the TV show, and if it got on the website, and you had to reach like a certain stamina each time, and I was good for like their heavy news topics and things, but.
And what does that mean, though? Heavy. I mean, why were you good for their heavy news topics? And unpack that. I mean, what does that really mean?
I know how to really not act, but like, kind of act, but like at the time, but I know how to make my concerned questions genuine. Whereas the other guys, they're just like jackasses. I'm like, no, you have to really understand the problems we're going into. So I kind of wanted to go at a heavier. I kind of would be like, I remember once I had an artist once who like told me. An artist in our scene who was like, there's no such thing as a good paparazzi. You can't be told that. But in my head, I thought I was. So I still fucking hate him. But like, I won't say he was, but he's a fucking prick. And he copies other people.
How do you really feel?
He copies other people too, and he's an asshole. So like,
we have a breaking news story here on our podcast, Not Real Art. Tell us more, Birdman.
Oh no. But like, so. Yeah, like I would just know how to talk to people, and I would get people who would never talk on TMZ to talk, and like it would just I could either be really silly or it could be really serious. For some reason, I just noticed
those are your two speeds, silly or serious.
Silly or serious. Those are my two speeds, and then they knew that too. So like on certain ones, they'd be like, all right. Let's do this. I remember like when the whole Donald Sterling thing was going with the Clippers, I was the first person to get into talk after that, and that was because he.
Nice.
Like I asked him every question because like if you don't ask him all the questions, like you get reamed if you forget one question. It's like you kind of have like your little phone. You gotta like, hey, so I'm like, you got to ask every single one. And then,
now, who's giving you the questions? Like the editor, the journalist, the writer? Like who? Or are you writing your own questions?
No, well, sometimes like my boss would also, my supervisor would be also the one who would like, if it was a person of high interest,
right?
They would like I would call them before, like, oh, what do you think of these questions?
A person of high interest. I've always wanted to be a person of high interest. I'm not. No, yeah, good luck. I'm not going to be ever.
Or it's honestly like every person's kind of like a stock exchange. They all have a value,
right? Sure.
In the celebrity aspect, so it's like
I'm a penny stock.
So it's like it's like if a person talks about something bad they were in the news for, or if they talk about someone else that's doing something bad that then ties into social matters, or then it ties into multiple layers of things. But the Donald Sterling thing, it tied into race, it tied into
multiple
sports,
things. Yeah.
It tied into an old man dating a young woman. It had so many.
That was my favorite part.
Yeah, it was like, oh my god, he was an onion layer of just like an onion, but he was filled with layers as an onion, just it was just so
peel the layers.
Yeah, he had so much. Like, and I just remember the whole V. Stiviano thing was hilarious. Like, everything about that time for me was just a very silly moment of my life.
Sure.
And it's just like the fact that I was there during that time was like another hilarious part too. So it was just like, I got him to talk about hamburgers. I was like, how's the burger? And he was like, it was great. It was great. And the big selling point was that it was a black-owned restaurant. And so that's how the whole, it was on Huffington Post. It was hilarious just watching people like critique my interview. Like, oh, the paparazzi asked this. And it's like, or once I got, I told Kendrick Lamar, I called him out. I was like, yeah, dude, like P. Diddy and Jay-Z made a meme about your ass. And I'm like, what do you got to say about that? He's like, they're cool. Everyone else got to try harder though, man. He's like, but I felt so bad because I had no idea what he looked like. I asked 3 different people who were walking by, like in his crew, like, no, that guy. No, that guy. That guy. Like, it was a planned shoot. I was like, he was going to talk to me, but they're like, no. I'm like, I'm the confused white guy who just listens to rock
that
and
thinks
heavy
all
metal.
black people look the same.
Oh my god! I was like, I told like our crew member, I was like, I swear that's not the case, because he told me, I was like, is that how it is? I was like, no, I swear to God, I just don't.
I'm not a racist, I swear.
I swear, I just don't know what he looks like. I don't know what he looks like. And they were all the same height.
And by the way, you don't know what I look like. You didn't know what I look like.
Like, go to Silver Lake and tell me I don't look different.
Yeah, right.
Oh god, I hate that. Okay, yeah, so TMZ was done, and then finally, when that contract ended, I was able to just finally focus on Birdman. And at that point now, it's just been blossoming into an area I would have expected. Because also while at TMZ, I had like a paid 2-week vacation that I did traveling with. So it was like,
right.
it was all this additional stuff.
So you were going to say something? Okay. So, I mean, so you leave TMZ and you want to double down on being Birdman. What was there a kind of a key artist or gig that you got that kind of really caught fire and sort of jump-started your career? Or was it just a grind? And where is, artists are notoriously broke. I mean, who's hiring you? Galleries, artists? Like what, take us through that a little bit in terms of how you built your business.
I was like starting to work with V&A magazine and Graffiti Art magazine. V&A was based out of London, and they're now a retired magazine, and Graffiti Art magazine is based out of France. And like I would shoot some stuff for them, and then like once I started going to all the events and started working with galleries, that really helped. And then Risk, I worked with him a bunch, and then just being around his atmosphere and going to parties with him, and like in that 1 year that I was off, he took me on like a couple trips with him. And then another recent year when I had after TMZ, like he took me on like several trips to like Ohio and San Francisco and Houston and Miami. I just went and did a bunch of work with him. And while I was working with him, I made other connections with other mural festivals and people, and just learned what I learned in music business school. Just keep connecting, and keep talking, and be nice to everybody, and give a quality product. And just my whole thing was I wanted to make people look good, and I learned that I could make people look good. And I just would tell galleries, I want to make your artists look good. And same thing, I would just tell artists, like, I just want to make you look good. Like that's all.
Who doesn't want that?
Like, I just want to make you look good. Like,
yeah. I challenge you to make me look good, Birdman. I don't think that's possible, man. Can Birdman make sourdough look good? I don't know.
I think he can.
Okay.
You'll see the.
He's good. He is good.
You'll see him on your website.
So, well, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, how do you? Okay.
Oh, sorry. Before I
go ahead.
Also, ThinkSpace was another.
Of course.
They are
Yeah.
a huge reason of my success lately.
Great. Shout out ThinkSpace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man,
So how does? Because I know a lot of photographers over the years, known plenty of photographers, even before the digital era, right? Now with the digital era, everyone thinks they're a photographer, right? Everyone has an iPhone. Oh, I'm a photographer. I have an iPhone. So how do you compete with that in terms of like being able to actually get paid for being a photographer when everyone else and their mother thinks they're a photographer too? Like, obviously there's quality and obviously there's your style and all that kind of stuff. But what's the landscape out there? Explain a little bit to us how you get paid and how people, some just some of those issues with everyone thinks they can photograph. How do you stand out from that, and how do you get respected enough to get paid?
Well, I like again, I'll say personality goes a huge way in it. Like I would say a lot of my relationships are all just based off of, come on, like Scott and you, like just like hanging out and seeing each other at multiple events, and then end up, working with you guys like during designer con and stuff. So it's like, I just basic conversations going around with people and stuff. And like that's, just good people skills, hustling, and good gear also is another thing. Like I think all like, no, gear's not
He
all
must
that.
be good. He has good gear.
Well, because I was gonna say, it's like a lot of people, like that's a misconception. I know a lot of people with really good gear who don't know how to use it at all. But like mine was just, I don't know. It kind of like, honestly, it just kind of happened. It kind of like, it was like a snowball effect. It happened all by accident. Like it happened because I was bored at my job, and then I just started doing something on the side and didn't really think of the money and just did it. Just put in my time. That's why I always try telling artists and everyone, like, because younger artists always have like, oh, you shoot all the big artists, you got like good secrets. I'm like, don't stop.
Right.
Like that's like my one thing I've always looked. It's like I was just like, even though I was, broke as a joke, I was still going to art shows. I was still trying to shoot street art. I was still trying to shoot anything. And then same thing with, if I was, working for TMZ, I was exhausted as hell. But I passed something in between something. I'm gonna go take a quick photo of that real fast, and like just not stopping. And I think putting in the time of just your craft and showing people that you're real and not out in it just for the money. Like you said, just like people only, you see that. You see when they're just like, they're hungry, and you could just feel that. But I've noticed when I just go up to her, I was like, hey, how's it going? I'm not getting anything out of you. What's going on, man? Like, let's lose bullshit for a bit. Let's get stoned. Let's have a beer, and like, and like, hey, tell me about your stuff, And for me, the only reason why I like documenting it is just because I'm a musician, and making colors with music is very easy for me and very easy to understand. But just like, I don't know, just art is very hard for me to understand visually, and just the creation of it. So the fascination of it just keeps me chasing and watching people's process of it.
Right.
So I think having that, I don't know, just being humble about it and just being on, just that was just my main curiosity to people all the time. And then out of nowhere, I just started getting paid. Like it just started happening. Like I would get like galleries be like, oh, can you do this? And like, no, but I could try. Like say they like ThinkSpace. They're like, can you do videos too? I'm like, no, but let me give me a shot.
Why should that stop me?
Yeah. And so now videos are basically like one of my main incomes. Like when I work for other galleries, and then Corey Alford Gallery, they were like, hey, can you do interviews? I'm like, I did it for TMZ for like a good long time. I'm
exactly.
like, I could do them. Yeah, sure. And then next thing you know, I started doing other things. It was like, and then Greg Escalante, God bless his soul, rest in peace. But like, he was the first person to let me fly a drone in a gallery. And like,
wow, yeah.
So ever since, no one would let me do that until like he let me. And then ever since then, people are going apeshit wanting that shot.
Right.
Like, not to be cocky, but I got that shot down. But like, he like, it's like all these little things. Like it was all people who helped me. So it's all other people. Like it was not all by myself. It was like someone was just like, hey, do you know, you're always out here all the time. Like, how about I throw you a couple bucks this time, And like, sometimes artists don't pay me, and I'm like, you know what? Let me try seeing if I can get the corporation who you're working with to try paying me.
Sure.
And then that's where also I work in my marketing skills. I'm like, oh, I have direct connections, or I always tell people I have direct 1 degree of separation to all the major blogs that you're trying to get a hold of that you don't know if the email is getting to them.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
I have direct connections to all of them. So I was like, I will pitch to them. I can never guarantee you things. I will pitch to them to all these things, and if it gets posted, it gets posted. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. And then, but that also creates a value in me of just
exactly, yeah.
It's because also I shot for free for all those websites for years before all of this.
Yeah.
So I've had these
Paid your dues.
Yeah, and exactly. I felt like that's honestly what it is. It's just so all these bloggers are like coming in and like trying to do really quick fun things. Or I know once someone actually said, "Oh, it's no photography, shooting art." I'm like, no, there is. There is, because Zane chopping down films and I are making a very good living at doing
exactly.
it. Not like as in, not to say we're sucking it all up as a monopoly, but I'm just saying we're working our asses off to make people look good.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of late.
Yeah.
It's kind of late. And then, as well, it's just, there's a couple other guys too, but I don't want to get into politics if I don't forget people.
We don't even,
so
look,
I'm like, if I forget someone, someone's gonna get pissed. I'm just not gonna like bring up anyone else.
But I'm interested in the business part of it, because I think that's like a really important thing for people to understand.
I don't even have a website.
You don't even have a website.
I don't even have a website.
So
I know, I was looking for it. I couldn't find it.
I know. Word of mouth.
Yeah.
So how did you figure out what to charge people?
I just kept increasing it.
And so, like, the first number you came up with, how'd you come up with it? You heard someone else charge that, or you just figured that this would be good?
Someone was like, "Hey, I could give you this much." I'm like, "Okay, I'll take it."
Yeah, and then you start from there.
I was just taking what I could get first, and then I started learning from other photographers. Like, no, you got to ask, like, what's their budget? Oh, that question.
Right.
Okay. It's like, okay, and then they're like, no. Then you go into options, and then I started learning more stuff from talking to other camera guys and learning how to do that. But I also realized a lot of people always try school and we being like, "Oh, you need to do contracts. You need to do this." I'm like, dude, you do not know what it's like working in the art community.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot different than any other community.
So it is, yeah.
It's like, honestly, just same thing with music. Honestly, they're about the same, really. Or it's just like, you got a lot of, like, you can't just, in the business world, everyone's like, "Oh, let's get contracts. Like, yeah, everyone wants to do freaking contracts. Anytime I've ever had contracts with people, those people always fall out. Yeah. Those are the first people to fall out. Yeah. The people with contracts. Everyone else was just like, "Hey, we good? Yeah, we good. Just make sure it's in the email. We both write out both that we want, and later down the line we can just trace it down in this paper trail." But I don't need to,
Right.
Not to say that I don't work with contracts all the time, which now I do with like larger events and stuff. But like I'm saying, for the most part, though, like it's a lot different than working in any other industry, where it's just like I got to hunt down invoices all the damn time. I got like the normal. It could either get paid today or in 30 days.
So now that you become, I think more well known, and obviously you're hustling so hard, has the time shifted as in terms of how much time you spend chasing the jobs, or chasing the money, or chasing the paycheck, as opposed to actually shooting and doing what you want to be doing? Has that shifted, or what?
Every now and then it does, because as of right now, I'm like, I have different phases in my life. Like right now, I'm kind of I was building up all of my gear, and I was kind of chasing down to a deadline of how much I wanted to save for myself before I could move out of moving back with my mom, so I could just, because last time when I left house, I just left it. And I was like still wanting my guitar gear. I still needed amps. Like I was like still like broke with making it. So I was like, you know what? Can't do that this time. Even though as fun as it'd be just to run out home, and everyone always talks about like, I'm like, no, I need to be smart. Like I want to save up. I want to make sure I have all my gear. So this past year, I've just been focused so intensely on just getting out. So this entire year, it's all been about getting new gear, getting stronger cameras, so I could make people look good. Right. I mean, make all these jobs look cooler. All these new toys are coming out. I got to adapt to it all. 4K, time lapsing, the drones, stabilizers, editing. That's a whole nother thing too. Not that many people could do photos, video, editing, photo shoots. Not only just photos, but like soft boxes and stuff, and then time lapsing and all that. It's like I'm very tired. I'm very tired.
You don't seem tired though. You seem high energy.
Oh God, man. It's
That's how you do it, right?
Well,
every event I've seen you at, you're running from one end of the building to the other end of the building, out the door to the next event.
That's right. Event from event to the next event.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like I always try to tell them, like, look, you see me at an event, don't take it personal. I am just like,
right.
that's my time. Like I gotta work. If you were lucky to get me in those couple seconds, you got me on those couple seconds. But sorry to be a chatty Cathy, but I got to get out of here, man.
So. You're Birdman. You're flying from one event to the other.
Well,
that's it.
I used to a lot when I first started, but then galleries were like, "Oh, we can prevent you from going to that other show if we just hire you."
That's right.
And I was like, "Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Like, you can prevent the photos of that show if you just hire me."
Everybody has a price. That's right.
Yeah. So it started figuring out little things like that. And like I said, like I at first I was doing hourly, and like, hourly is too weird. I'm gonna do project rate. And then I noticed more people were more attuned to working with project rate. And so those like little things like that I started picking out. And then you just have to learn and see what works. But yeah, test the waters each time. Like, I'm gonna add like couple $100 more, see what happens. I'm like, oh shit, they said yeah, way too quick.
Right.
Fuck. Like, god damn it. Like
Well, Birdman, one of the reasons I was excited about having you on as a guest, let alone our first guest, is because, you sit at kind of a nexus of, where you operate. You're sort of a hub, and you sort of have an awareness of the scene and what's going on, and so your perspective, excuse the pun, as a photographer, but as a popular resource to many great artists and art events around Los Angeles and the world for that matter. What are your so you have this really unique kind of perspective, right? Because you're touching and you're seeing so much. So what are some of the observations and some of the things you're seeing that's striking you these days?
like in how so?
Well, I don't know. Just in terms of
Like in the art
any
world or
trends
what?
in the art world, like among artists. For example, okay, let me just ask this question. So, what's the one thing you hear artists bitching about these days? Like the one common complaint. Could be anything. A pain point, an issue, something that artists are struggling with.
I'd say payment for a wall, when everyone a couple years ago was like freaking out trying to get a wall, and now they got the walls, and now it just, of course everyone wants to keep wanting more and more and more and more, but it's like same thing with me. I always want the next thing, like, oh, okay, I got this gig, right? I want to get paid more. Sure. Well, it's like, so that's like the one thing I've noticed now is that, like, now that everyone's figured it out, that the art is cool and everything, that I'd say the most concerned thing everyone is always payment.
So for a while it was getting a wall. Now they got the wall. So now they want to get paid for doing the wall.
And now everyone wants to be involved in mural festivals, and they feel left out. They don't, and they feel like there's an elitist group of artists and
clique. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people think there's cliques. I feel like there is in some cases. There are some cliques, but you just got to hustle harder. That's what it comes down to.
So many of these mural festivals, they're paying, as I understand it, they're paying certain artists, but a lot of artists are not getting paid. They're getting a wall, they're getting supplies, maybe they're getting fed and what have you, but maybe they're getting their travel, maybe, but they're not getting, a lot of these artists are not getting paid for the walls, as I understand it. I hope I'm wrong about that, but.
I don't know about that part, because I don't know, because I feel on some aspects, some artists see me as like the same level as a gallerist, and don't talk to me on certain things.
Interesting, sure.
So
right,
a while ago, it was like, for a while, like I was in the back end, because I did, shot a ton of graffiti, and I still go on graffiti missions. Like I just did a billboard mission with South recently. It's like, so it's like I still pride myself in being both on the artist side and as well as the gallery side. I like being in the middle, being able to see the art world, the graffiti world, the gallery world, just everything in that. So, but I feel that sometimes they do see me in that point and don't tell me those types of things.
Interesting.
And I don't like to bug them on those things.
Of course.
But like there are times where I've just been like, I know he's getting paid. He ain't getting paid. I'm getting paid. That guy ain't getting paid. I'm like, what's going on here? So it's like, and then I just kind of like turn a blind eye, because I gotta get out of my house. So I'm like, like I said, like right now I'm on another prize right now. So it's like, all right, sorry, that's. I gotta look the other way on that.
Do you get hated on because from artists, graffiti artists or street artists or whatever? Do you get hated on because some of your shots, of their murals or whatever, get a lot of publicity or stuff like that? Or what kind of interaction do you usually have with writers or with artists on the streets?
Oh, with writers, usually like I ran into a couple at a Crayola show. They seem to still be liking me, which is good. Like, because I did as much as I do love shooting all the murals and stuff. Like I did my recent Vietnam trip, because on top of doing the paid gigs, like you said, like. Yeah, right now I'm in that chasing mode, but I still every now and then will kind of like step back and be like, oh crap, I got to do a trip for myself. And so this year I just randomly just booked a trip to Vietnam and went out to Vietnam for like a week. But I had gone there like 2 years ago, so I had some friends out there. So I just linked up and I just went by myself and told them I was going, and I ended up linking up with like 12 different people out there. And people from like South Africa, people from New York, from Oakland, like from LA, like all in Saigon, Vietnam. And it was like I made this graffiti video, and graffiti writers seemed to be responding really well to it, which is made me feel like, oh, okay, cool. Like I applied all the skills and toys that I got from working in the art field,
Yeah.
fine art, and now was finally able to peel it back, all the graffiti. So if you get a chance, go check that out. It's on my YouTube.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I've seen some of that. And
I'm jealous though because I don't have any friends in Vietnam.
I don't either.
How the hell do I do that? That's amazing.
You hook up with Birdman.
Apparently, I'm one degree separated.
He's trying to
yeah.
teach you how you network and how you do this.
I
and
gotta-
you're not
it's all
fucking
about
listening.
networking.
I gotta
telling you.
listen. I gotta
Okay,
listen.
I got a guy.
Well, I was asking you that question because when I was in London, like the fucking artists hate the street photographers, like hate them, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like a real big issue over there, more than I've seen it in other places. And to the point where they'll have walls where there's a sign that says no photography allowed, no street photographers allowed. I saw a photographer shooting this wall that we were painting, and he cut a hole in the fence literally like 200 yards away.
Hell yeah.
And he had like a gigantic, like, you know, those Canon, whatever they're called.
Yeah,
giant
telephoto. Yeah.
right? And it was like a safari. It was like he was shooting like big game animal from like 200 yards away.
Right.
And I sneaked up on him just to talk to him, and he freaked out because he thought I was going to talk shit to him. But I was like just interested in like, oh, dude, like what do you have to do? And he started telling me how all these artists like.
Use a drone, asshole. Come on.
This is years ago, right?
Well, this is a few years ago.
Okay,
Maybe the
yeah.
drone thing wasn't happening yet. Probably the drone thing is happening now. But my whole point was I talked to the writers there, and I was like, yo, why are you guys hating on these dudes? You know? And a lot of them were just because obviously there's a lot of like people who are putting stuff out. Maybe they're publishing books or things like that. And they don't want, I understand that part of it. But I was like, why don't you befriend these guys? Because they're putting your shit out. And it's like better photographs than you're ever going to take, And like, but they were like, no, fuck these guys. Fuck these street photographers. And so there was like a really crazy, and they felt the same way also about tours, about street art tours.
Oh,
right?
I'm still the same about tours.
And so, so it was like a crazy thing. And I was just wondering like how, I think you have a lot of respect the way you deal with the artists, as far as I've seen. And I think the artists respect you. Maybe I think that little bit about you doing stuff, up on the heavens and taking, I think that gives you so much street cred. I think that maybe you're a different animal than the other street photographers. I don't know, but I just wanted to ask you about that. That's why.
Well, yeah, that too. Like I remember in the beginning, a couple writers would give me shit for it, and I'm like, well, I'm not shooting you, I'm shooting him. Like he brought me out here. Yeah. He didn't I know you didn't invite me out here, but he invited me, and I'm cool with him. So I just I had a thick skin, and I've grown up in Silmar. I've always been the scrawny white guy hanging out with all my like hood Hispanic friends and like just being the odd man out all the time. So like anytime they try talking, I'm like, okay. Whatever. Okay. And like they hate that. Every hood person hates when you do that. And I'm like, I got a really thick skin. I'm just like, okay. I'm just like, I'll take it. And like, because I just knew how to. All right, just bob and weave. Just let them say their things, and they're gonna get bored of you. Yeah. And so, also after working at TMZ, that really helped.
Oh,
I could really take it. Like now, I'm just like,
yeah,
okay. And like it pisses people off so much.
Right.
But like, in the beginning though, there was definitely some like, who the fuck is this guy? Who the hell is this scrawny weird dude coming in here like taking our photos? And then like eventually more people started like coming to, and then like the more they started talking to me, they realized that I was a musician, and they'd be like, oh, so you do more? You actually, I'm like, yeah, I performed.
Yeah.
Like
you have talent.
I'm like, I do more than just like Instagram shit.
You're an artist.
Yeah, it's like, and then I have fun, I try taking artistic photos when I can, but like I see myself as more as like a photojournalist rather than like a.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's like I just I do my arty photos. I make prints. I print on wood and on metal, but like for the most part, it's like I make my money off of doing these gigs and like as just being an event person and working for the street mural festivals and stuff.
So who's some hot young artists that are up and coming that maybe we don't know about that you like these days?
Cosdos. Trying to remember who else. I don't want to say up. I'm like, I want to say people, but at the same time I don't, because I don't want them to be like, because I don't want people to do like favoritism.
Okay, let me ask you a different question.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a different question.
Yeah.
What artists do you collect in your own personal collection?
I've actually only bought 2 pieces.
Well, you probably get a lot of pieces given to you.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Lucky
man.
Yeah, I have only 2 pieces I've ever bought.
So who did you buy?
I bought an Alex Yanez piece based out of Miami, a really big piece, and it was it's a piece of an owl, and it said "Some Days" on the side of it. And I was like, yeah, some days I'm Birdman. I want that piece.
Nice.
And I was like, during my TMZ days, I was like, Daddy just got paid. I didn't have to pay. But like, God. And FYI, when I do that, I'm kind of referencing Risk has this amazing friend, Dana, who just always talks in third person, and he's just a very awesome character, and he always says stuff like that. So I don't say daddy in third person often. But like,
so who's the second artist? You're the second piece that you purchased.
Wiley Wallace. He's one of my favorites right now. He's really, really cool. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's really, really amazing. I highly recommend. He has a show actually right now at ThinkSpace. I'm kind of glad I got him on his early works. So
nice. Yeah, right.
Yeah, then my favorite trade though I have right now is a 2 foot by 2 foot D-face.
Nice.
From like 2011 of like,
dude, score.
Oh my God, it's freaking awesome. Like, it's like my favorite.
Yeah, he overpaid you for that gig.
Well, it was multiple years. Like it was like years of building it up. Okay. Like we did like
he got fucked.
Well, like man, like because I went like anywhere we were, I would just take a crap ton of photos and videos. Like we just happened to run into each other everywhere, or like sometimes be like, oh, I'm shooting out in Vegas for a festival. I'm like, all right, I'll go out there, and like I then coordinate with the people out there, and then made friends with those people, and started it's like artists help me, I help them.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
like, oh, it's like I can't pay.
But listen, there's a lot to be said for the barter economy. I mean,
absolutely.
Give me a break, right? I mean, like that's it.
Now,
trading.
Yeah, now it's like, I'm sorry, you guys should have got me in my early days. Some people still ask me for trades. I'm like,
no, exactly.
It's like like, dude, that's really good, but I don't know how to say your art's bad and I don't want it. Like I would rather prefer money, and I'm a nice guy, and I know.
So because we try to be good hosts, right, to our guests.
We do. Okay.
Right? We try.
It's the first time.
You don't know? Yeah, I think we should.
We should try.
Do you think? I mean, it makes right. So we want to be gracious hosts. Might be a little bit awkward for the listeners, but Birdman had said to me earlier that he had a schedule and he needed to be somewhere. He's a big busy man, as we've established.
Yeah, that's what
and while I want him to hang out with us all day, I know he's got better things to do because he's Birdman. And so I want to just check in with him right now because he was saying maybe he might have to get out of here to go do his thing. So we'd love to keep working or sign off if you got to take off. So
I'll do like 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes. Okay. We got two.
Wow.
Cha-ching.
Damn.
Now what Birdman doesn't know is that I ordered pizza. And pizza's gonna be here soon, so like you can make it to the pizza. Okay. I know you don't barter, but hey, we got pizza.
We're not TMZ, but we got pizza.
We got pizza. Well, dude, right on, man.
I'm just curious, man. Like, so when you travel to all these other cities, and
I leave a very angry girlfriend at home who I love very much.
Right?
She's not angry. She loves me. Darcy, I love you.
It's not goodbye. It's see you later.
That's
it.
Yeah. Do these? How does that again back to the business part of it? Like, do you figure out like you just say, hey, just buy me a ticket, get me over there, or do you say, this is the project and it's all inclusive? Or how do you do it?
Okay, so when I first started, it was just like I would just go out there. Like I remember like when I went out to like Urban Nation, Berlin the first time. Oh yeah. It was like I was using my vacation time on TMZ and I was already getting paid. I was like, you know what? Let's see. I'm going to build a relationship. So the first time I just went out there because I knew all my friends were going to be painting out there. It was going to be a fun, big show. And I just made all these relationships. And people took me serious after that. Once they started seeing I was traveling internationally. Yeah. And I've always told people that. The second you go international, people are like, oh. Right. Same thing means it. Yeah, just like when I did my classical guitar. Once my family saw me traveling to like Italy and traveling to like Barcelona and like seeing they're like, oh, he's serious. Yeah, he's serious about this. So, and I think that kind of woke up a lot of people who were watching me. Yeah. And like started including more of my works. I was getting published way more. And now I just have a giant bin, which right now is really hard to even imagine, is I have a giant bin filled with all the publishings I've been published in for all these magazines.
All right.
And it's like, I think that's also another rare thing for right now as a photographer. Like I somehow managed to get V&A and graffiti art, and now juxtaposed to like support me throughout the years
Right.
and stuff.
Shout out
But like,
Juxtapose.
but like for the most part, it was like I would get out there, I would shoot everything. All right, now the next year, I'm like, hey, could you help me out in like a room? Like, yeah, sure, we'll get you a room, we'll get you food this time. I'm like, all right, that'd be cool. And then like the next time, like, hey, can you guys like get the ticket, and then I'll just try figuring out getting the hotel, and then maybe I could try hustling while I'm out there. Like, yeah, sure. Then while I'm there, I'll like tell artists, hey, I'll make you a mini video because the organization's only hiring me for this, like, but I'll make you some specifically just for you, like, if you want to give me like a little bit more, because they're already paying me a big amount. It's just I'm just asking for edit time, and like, and they're really gonna share it. I'm like people are going to share it, let's just do this little quick trade. And they're like, okay, cool. So I would just do that. And then, or I would get out to Basel, and then I've got someone who would be able to pay for my food, my airplane ticket, and my hotel. Nothing else. So I'm like, shit, 10 days. Right. What do? You have to figure out how to make money on those 10 days and just hustle your ass off, as well as keeping your client happy that you're there with.
Right.
Which is a huge struggle. And like, I don't know if you see me on Art Basel the past like 2 years, but this year I'm trying to change it up. I've just spread myself so
it's too
thin
much. Yeah.
because you try balancing it out too much like that. And so it's like, so now I'm just kind of like, all right, I've been here doing this for a couple of years. Who wants to give me like, I got to get the full thing if you want me there for X amount. But now I've built up the momentum where I can ask that. Yeah. But it's all about push and pull. Like, like on certain gigs that are far away, I'll be like, how about if I drive there and I stay at a friend's house, you give me a per diem, or you increase my rate somehow. So there's always finagling room. That's always tell people, like, just try to see where you can really lose. Can you lose some sleep? Go hang out on a friend's couch. Go hang out at a shitty Airbnb. Can you lose out on some quality meals? Go have top ramen and McDonald's dollar menu for that trip. But you're working, you're doing your thing, and people are seeing you sacrifice for your craft. Yeah. So I think sacrifice, like everyone always says, pain is part of being an artist. Fuck yeah, it is. You got to really sacrifice. You got to have horrible travel nights. You got to be able to like put up with some bullshit people with egos. Right. You got to be able to put up with annoying festival organizers who don't know what the hell they're doing.
By the way, Man One totally knows what you're talking about, because he's got to put up with me and my bullshit ego. Yeah, it's rough for him.
And you guys had to put up with mine when I was shooting your stuff, so it's all like, it's a wheel of shit.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, the ego thing is a huge thing with artists, and having managed so many artists for so many years, it's part of the reason why I closed the gallery years ago. But when you go to these festivals and stuff like that, and you have all these big egos, right? How do you manage that? I mean, I know you said like,
Well, now actually I've kind of upped my resume, and now for the Rad Napa project I do that ThinkSpace curates over in Napa Valley.
Oh,
that
yeah.
we do at the wine train.
Oh, that's right.
I now do project management with the artists as well as documentation.
Right.
So he's there for the bookending of the days of the first and the last, and then I just kind of handle the whole liaison between the client and creative. And I think my music background really helped. Like, because I learned how to be a performer at that time, as well as doing the marketing. Same thing with this. I've learned how to sacrifice for my craft for helping these guys out as well. And I know what ticks them. So like now when I go to these things, I know how to tell a business person, no, you can't tell the artist this. You have to tell it to them like this. Right. And same thing, I'm like, all right, we can't tell the business person this. We have to explain it to him like that.
Like that, right.
Yeah, so it's like...
Really smart, yeah.
And it's just about reading people. You just got to learn, just got to be able to be good at reading people. And like I said, have a thick skin.
Right,
You cannot have a thin skin and take a little bit of criticism. Like if someone gives you criticism, take it, figure it out if it's actually real. If it's not, and you don't think it's a problem, keep moving by. But if you think it's an issue, just don't hate that person too much, and just realize it's just work. Yeah. I think Risk actually taught me is like, I hope this is right, but he told me it's like the Japanese style of working is it doesn't matter if we don't like each other. It matters if our product is a quality product.
Right.
So let's bullshit our differences right now and just make this thing work.
Yeah.
And I've had that before with other artists before.
That's a good point, yeah.
Where it's just like, you know what? We kind of don't like each other, but like we really do cool shit together.
You're both professionals.
Yeah. So let's just shut the fuck up and get work done. And
exactly.
It's like,
right.
And I experience that a lot. And it's like, I feel bad for the chicks in this industry having to deal with the hard ass guys in this industry. Cause like some of the guys like are just assholes. And like, and Same thing with the chicks though. It goes both ways. They're both just as mean as the guys are, but it's really cutthroat though on like just these people, because then they feel like, oh, I'm the one in charge of this. I'm giving the artists all of this.
It's very Trumpian.
It is. It's very American.
I mean, I'm just calling it out.
It's just very, you give people power.
Yeah.
You give people Instagram followings.
Right.
You give them this pedestal. So now they're like, they feel like they have a power they can abuse. So now they're like, oh, well, and there's some people who don't do it. There's actually a lot of people who don't do it. There's only a couple bad seeds out there. There's a lot of the festivals. I'm not trying to bash like festivals. I'm like, because every single one that I've been associated with, I wouldn't be associated with them if they weren't with their artists. And like, so it's like, it's just, there's a couple bad apples out there, but they can't ruin the rest of the bunch for everybody.
Right.
But
well, the system purges that shit, I think, ultimately.
that's nothing I always tried pointing out to people. I'm always like, you know what? I know you think this is long, but let's wait like 2 years. That person's going to disappear.
Yeah, right.
And it always happens.
Right.
There are a couple assholes I can think of right now, though, who have been doing it for a long time.
and you're just like...
And I'm like, how do you still keep getting hired?
But it's because they're assholes.
Well, that's just it, too. That's right.
I know a couple artists who are like diva, but people are so working with them because they're diva. They're it, man. They're like, they own it. So it's like, you either got to have it.
Yeah,
like if you have it, people could have, if you have it, people can read it and push you out. You either go, you got to go full.
Own it.
Got to go full, own it if you're going to be that asshole. Just like how me, when I go to my events, I kind of take on a persona. Like when I go to events, like I'm just like, I got this. I could shoot anything. Give me what you got. Like, all right, I got this. Let's do this. All right, cool.
Confidence.
You got to have that confidence. And then like the
swagger.
It's in other words, yes. But yeah, excuse me, a little burp there. But like, that's really what it comes down to. Just
fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. Really,
that's the story of my life.
Oh God,
I still haven't made it. I'm still faking it, but
I completely ruffled my feathers bigger than they were. Like, and just over talked. I'm like, oh God, I really got to perform on this. Holy shit. They were like, I just bit way more than I chewed. What was I thinking? And I make it work. I'm tired as hell, but I'll make it work. But
so I have to ask you this: the mustache.
Oh yeah,
you got to tell us about the mustache.
Dude, I'm so glad you worked this in. By the way, let's make this out of respect for our guest. Let's be good hosts. This will be the last question, of the day. The most important, saving the best for last. Please tell us the story. How did we
decide on
come
this?
to the handlebars?
I hated my dad using my razors all the fucking time, so I was just like, I'm not gonna buy razors. That's it.
This is how old?
So simple.
How old were you?
So simple.
Oh no, I was like, no, that was probably 2000. That was like probably 2012 maybe.
Okay.
So, God, about 6 years ago.
Okay, so, and by the way, like maybe I fucked up here by calling them handlebars, because I mean, you're Birdman, so are they wings?
I don't know what the fuck.
Oh, they're handlebars. Okay, all right.
Some like Dahlia looking shit.
It's like awesome, man. I mean,
once I get to the infinity sign, that's about it. That's all I want. I just
the
want
infinity sign.
Once I
nice.
can do the infinity sign, I'll be happy. But for the most part, if I want to be clean cut, I do this. But if I want to be Vato Birdman, I point it downwards. And so it's like the half Mexican, half Spanish in me goes both directions. So it works out great. Like I'll go into like, a San Fernando bar and put my fedora, put my mustache downwards, fit over there. Then I just go to Silver Lake, put my mustache upwards, fit over there. Still I don't have to change the fedora. Works out great.
Right. Well, I just want to say that, I'm really... Thanks for coming to and being on our podcast. First of all, it was a great time. And I really dug your stories. I really dug how you let our guests, our audience know that, by being such a good marketer, such a unique individual and networking, you can make it in this business. That's kind of what you just told us. I don't know how many times I've heard that and people still don't believe it, And so, thank you for sharing that. And I think it's great. And,
Man and I joke and have joked, but we take it very seriously over the years. We like to say, technically we have a policy that we try to, conduct business by. And that policy is very serious and it's very technical. And it's summed up in the phrase, no assholes.
Yeah, that's the first rule.
And by the way, that's kind of what you're saying. You're like, no, be a nice person, like treat people with respect. You know,
Yeah.
it goes so far. You know,
Or be the biggest asshole and own it.
right?
Exactly. So be the
right.
biggest asshole,
One or the
own
other.
it, and just go there. Just go in there and slam your dick on the table and just be that fucking guy. Just or be humble and just be nice. And one thing I could always recommend is on every gig you go to, whoever's organizing it, get their personal number. Don't get their business card.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
I've gotten way more jobs just by getting the personal number rather than a business card.
Great.
And as
freaking
for
point.
slapping your dick on the table, I'm sorry to say, my wife just is like not cool with me doing that anymore. Like, I don't know. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Birdman, you're the best, dude. Thanks so much for coming through,
Oh,
hanging out.
Pleasure being on.
Please come back. Be a regular guest.
He's done.
He's
Yeah,
done. One and done.
no, you look like you live like down the street from me.
Right. We try to make it easy.
The one other person in the world who lives in the valley.
That's right. That's right. Well, we're just getting started. This is, I think, episode 21. And, but we hope to do this for a while yet. And we'd love to have you back and make you a regular. And, but regardless.
At the very least, you set the bar high.
That's right.
For our next
And
guest.
thanks for
I
coming
hope
through.
So. I hope so.
And
Great
best
interview.
of luck. And before we sign off, where can people find you on social? What's where you at?
Best way I always tell people is Instagram, or also YouTube. I've gotten really active on my YouTube as well. All of the longer versions of anything that's a 1 minute on Instagram is basically a trailer. I always make like a 3-minute, 5-minute version of things. So youtube.com/birdman photos, BIRDMANPHOTOS. And it's pretty much that across anywhere. So twitter.com/birdman photos and Instagram.com/birdman photos. I tried honing that in very early.
Right on. Well, we're gonna also put you on our socials so that people can find you there as well. But again, bro, have a great day. What are you up to now? Where you got a gig? What's oh wait, I'm sorry, top secret stuff. I don't want to put you in an awkward position.
Edit cave.
That's right.
Edit cave.
But be safe, brother. Be well.
Thank you.